Damn, I really like HAU's Dartrix. I can't wait to see Rowlet evolve. It will never happen.
Pokemon Ranger, I choose you!
What's up, my dear boys and girls, it's your Ranger Boy here, and welcome to a very late review of the Pokemon Sun and Moon anime. I know that this was the last week's episode, but I really want to get rid of my opinion in regard of this rather interesting episode, and not even my real life work will keep me away from doing so. So let's talk about episode 79, Dartrix the Artisan, Sleeping Rowlet. And I do believe that this episode actually pissed off a lot of people who thought that Ash would get a Decidueye. Why? If you want to know more, then grab some popcorn, grab some cookies, and let's do this. The episode just started and we already get the introduction of HAU, training with his partner Dartrix with the goal in mind to beat his grandpa Hala. But during training, Dartrix spots danger, which ends up being Ash and his Pokemon secretly checking out the two newcomers. But I guess HAU didn't mind at all, since he seems to be more focused on Ash's Z Crystal rather than the fact that strangers just watched him during his training. After that first weird introduction, HAU tells Ash that Hala is his grandpa, that he spent some time away from Alola with his dad and just recently returned to finally take on the island trials. Meanwhile, Ash tells him about how his Rowlet has beaten Hala's Crabrawler, while the tidy Dartrix tries to clean up the messy and sleepy Rowlet, with no success. Slackers for the world. Wow, so cool! Hey, let's battle! Vintage Ash. Okay, let's do this! And the battle barely has started, and you kinda knew what kind of tone this battle would have, because Ash's Rowlet dodged a very cool looking Leaf Blade by Dartrix because he fell asleep, and here I thought that this would be a badass battle. But no need to worry, the following Razor Leaf clash actually looks really promising, especially since Dartrix easily overpowered our Lazy Owl. By the way, Dartrix Razor Leaf looks so much cooler with those blades. I can't wait till Ash's Rowlet will evolve! No evolution? Well, it doesn't really matter as long as Ash has the all-ending and never boring Z move, which he screws up, and thanks to him not putting on the Z Crystal correctly, HAU used the opening to defeat Rowlet. And what you just heard was not only me, but probably thousands and thousands of people face-palming about something Ash never screwed up before. He did it like 20 times in a row correctly. Dum 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 ba-da-dum ba-da-da-ba-dum ba-dum 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 ba-da-da-dum ba-da-da-dum ba-dum bum bum. The only good thing coming out of this cringe fest was that Rowlet's motivation increased a lot. Like really, you barely could recognize this hard worker with this guy right here. Impressed by this attitude, both Kukui and Bonnet suggest that Ash should teach Rowlet a new move, and the best way to do so is to go back to his roots / origins, which Ash does, and we quickly cut to the next day where we witness Ash and his Pokemon entering the forest, where they met Rowlet for the first time. That, of course, means reuniting with his fellow comrades Pikipek and his daddy Toucanon, and after Rowlet described his situation to his friends, his two mentors decide to show him how to use Bullet Seed by swallowing rocks, which is actually something real life birds do as well. And for some odd reason, Pikachu wants to try that too. And this guy's the face of the franchise? Although Rotom explains that Rowlet can't learn Bullet Seed, Ash is very confident that he can. I mean, we're talking about the guy who used Thunder Armor, Counter Shield, and Frozen Kunais for ice skating, so I believe he could do it. I mean, heck, he used Bullet Seed himself with fruits, so Rowlet should be okay. Concentrate on your belly and your aim. That's the advice of our Pokemon Master, and Rowlet took that advice by heart, especially since he accidentally swallowed an Everstone, which prevents him from evolution. And even after shooting out that stone, Sun and Moon invented a new running gag by letting Rowlet swallow that Everstone every time he spits it out. But thanks to that repeated swallowing and spitting, oh my, he learned Seed Bomb. With a new move in his arsenal, Ash and HAU immediately start with their rematch, and Seed Bomb lands a critical hit on the rather surprised Dartrix. HAU then responds to that new move with the badass looking Razor Leaf, followed up by the even more badass looking Leaf Blade, before pinning down Rowlet just like I'm pinning down Lily's mom after we had 1 or 2 drinks too many. But of course, since this is Sun and Moon, Z move, which Ash now can do perfectly, and that's the end. After the rather anticlimactic battle, HAU suddenly turns 180 and is totally depressed after his loss. I never felt like this before, so this is how frustration feels? What the fuck? But then he immediately gets happy again. Okay. Rowlet once again swallows the Everstone, Ash and HAU say goodbye, and even the narrator tells us that Rowlet will have a future without evolution. Oh god. I have a lot to say about this episode, so ratings. What can I say about the story? Let's talk about the obvious elephant in the room. Rowlet will most likely not evolve. I mean, I'm not surprised because even I have predicted that in one of my past videos, but I'm just baffled of how Sun and Moon handle that. He won't evolve, not because neither Ash nor Rowlet want to, but because of a running gag, because of a joke. That's one of Sun and Moon's major features. Jokes! And this time the joke isn't even funny because it actually prevents one of Ash's most talented Pokemon to reach his full potential. Again, I'm not disappointed because of the non-evolution, but because of the way the anime has handled something a lot of people have been really looking forward to. This also means that Sun and Moon Ash will never be like XY Ash, aka with a fully evolved team. And even if we put aside this major problem, the rest of the episode was really not that impressive either. The overall story felt really rushed. We had the debut of HAU, his backstory, establishing him as Ash's rival, 2 battles between HAU and Ash, the whole non-evolution thing, obtaining a new move, and HAU being depressed about his loss, and that's all within one episode. Are you crazy? How can you properly build up a rivalry between the two if you rush through the important parts of their relationship? Sun and Moon did it right with Gladion and his rivalry with Ash, but you can't do it with HAU? Maybe if we didn't spend time with so much slice of life and so much comedy, maybe we could have had more time for HAU. And let us not forget that Brock and Misty will return as well, which means even less time for the guy. The only good thing about this episode was HAU. I like his personality, and his Dartrix is, just like Rowlet, very charismatic, and I'd love to see more of them. But if Sun and Moon continues to treat HAU like this, I'm very worried about his future in the anime. If it wasn't for HAU, the story would end up much worse. But thanks to the charismatic duo, I will give the story a 3 out of 10. But it's kinda sad that not even those two can save the episode. What can I say about the focus? Dartrix the Artisan, sleeping Rowlet, and the title kinda implies that the main focus will be both Pokemon and especially their relationship to each other, which is partly true. I mean, I like the fact that Dartrix caused Rowlet to be fully motivated. It's a great thing to see and definitely was one major part of the episode. But I state once again, this episode tried to focus on many different things at the same time, so that in the end it didn't really have a main focus. So 6 out of 10. Animation. The animation overall was fantastic. A very interesting fact is that good chunks of the animation have been done by people who aren't that familiar with Pokemon. For example, Kosuke Kato did the Razor Leaf Clash, while Boya Liang did the whole Ash Bullet Seed moment, and both never really worked on the Pokemon anime before. So in my opinion, that's very impressive and not only earns our respect, but also a perfect 10 out of 10. Great job. So this episode scores a 6.33 out of 10, and even though I would recommend this episode due to HAU and the animation, wow, prepare yourselves for a lot of headaches. Anyway guys, I really hope you enjoyed this review. I really missed you guys, and just like always, see you guys in the comments down below. Bye guys!